Hi, welcome to Project Overland. I'm Project and I'm going to be going overland, like it says in the title. That's a very interesting option, and you'll probably come here going, why is he sat in the house? That's because, we'll come to that in a minute, but we'll explain where everything is and what's going on. So I'm trying to get a structure, because one thing you'll need to know about me is I'm not very structured. I tend to go off down rabbit holes. So you'll be lots of editing and lots of stuff where it'll go forward and backwards. And I'll talk about nonsense and you'll be like, what is he on? But hopefully it'll be interesting. I'm finding it extremely interesting. I don't like using the word journey, but it's a journey. There's no other description for it. And I don't mean a physical one, because we haven't got to that bit yet. I meant in my life, where I started. So more about that in a minute. So how did I get to this point? So I got divorced and about 5 years ago, and I had a motorhome when I was married, and I was travelling, and I really enjoyed it. I love going places, no particular time frame, visiting places, meeting people, seeing stuff. That's what it's all about for me. So I quite like that. And I also drive a lot off-road a lot. So I've been driving Land Rovers off-road for 25 years, but there's not a lot of room in a Land Rover. So you can see I'm not small. I'm sat down, but I'm not a small bloke, right? So yeah, Land Rover's not going to be big enough for me to go around the world in, or even right across. I once drove to south of Spain in a Defender and back, and it was all right, but I was a bit younger, yeah, wasn't too bad. I'm not going to do that again. I like my own bed, or a bed, proper bed, bath, that kind of, no, not a bath, that'd be a big truck, shower. So that's it. And so I thought, well, how do I get to do both off-road and travel and motorhome? So I got into these expedition trucks, which is probably what brought you here in the first place, because you typed the word expedition truck in, and or overland, and I started finding these trucks, and I just went, wow, yeah, right. So all the big brands, I looked at all those. I've looked at the Unicats and the Blissmobile, Earth Roamer in America, all that kind of stuff. So jolly good, all lovely, but mega expensive. Way out of my price bracket, like this house kind of value that I'm saying, and I'm not going to swap my house for a truck. No, and I am a petrol head, and I am a bit mad, and there's quite a few people out there watching this that know me who will go, yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. So I did once say that if I could afford a Lamborghini, I'd probably end up living in it, but having tried to sit in a Lamborghini, no, really, it's not happening. Anyway, so Project Overland, how did that come about? It's basically me building a truck, taking a big 4x4 truck called Rosie, or I've called her Rosie, and I will be arranging, because I don't have the talents to build it myself, but I'll be arranging for people to do certain elements of this work. And that truck will get converted, ready to be a mobile home or expedition truck, overland truck, call it what you will. But basically it'll be my home from home, and it will take me around various parts. And on the first bits, it will be local trips to kind of Europe and stuff, the easy things to get to. And then as I build up my confidence and I get more comfortable with it, I'll be off and go into various parts. So places like Morocco, down as far as Mauritania. I'd like to go to Namib Desert, but it's just that extra bit far. The bit in the middle, even though I've got a friend who lives in Kenya, and I could go and visit him, the bit in the middle doesn't really interest me. I don't know why. I've just got, sorry Africa, it's no disrespect. So anyway, moving quickly on before we insult half the world. Yeah, coming back up, I've got, oh God, everywhere. Greece, Turkey, I'm massively into my history. Love archaeology, love stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm going to be touring around, and I kind of thought it's going to be a bit interesting, and I thought maybe you want to come along with me and see some of these places and experience my whole sort of like start to finish, and say, you know what, I could do that. And this is where I come from. This is the bit I've started from. Hang on a second. Tea. This is the bit where I'm coming from. Is to say to you, I started at 0 point. I literally sat there and went, this is what I want to do. How do I make that happen? And so that's where we're going to be going in terms of explaining that, in terms of so you can sit there as a person and go, I fancy doing that, and it looks really, really hard, but actually this buffoon has shown me that it's not that difficult, because if he can manage it, I'm sure pretty much anyone else can do it. So that's the idea. So we've covered off the sort of the beginning bit. How did it happen? The bit I didn't tell you about. So how did I end up with a truck? And I do own a truck. I know it looks like I'm in a house right now. I am, but I do own a truck. It's just not here. So the truck is at the builders. So that's gone off to have the habitation box put on the back. So the caravan part, although caravan, it's more of apparently, talking to everybody and reading up, they're very much more akin to boats than they are to caravans, even though they go on the road, because of the way you build them and the things that are built inside and how you build it. In other words, it's built to withstand the battering that you probably get a boat would get, if you like, apart from the water bit, yeah, obviously, on the land. Whereas a caravan is kind of like just meant to go from your driveway to a nice place that you park it up. So there's quite a bit of a difference in the construction. More on that later. Yeah, got to get a license. So how does that work? So my current license, so what I've got to do is go away. I have to do the latest hazard perception and the latest theory test, which is what does this sign mean? What would you do in this case? How does this work? You know, that kind of stuff. You've got to pass that before you can get to your practical. And then you go and do your practical. Practical is a C-class license, or possibly C+E, which is the articulated or trailers, if I wanted to get to that level, which I might want to tow a trailer, don't know yet. So I might do it together. C-class is about £1,200. So what's that? About $1,600. So that means I can then drive anything over the £16,000 mark, 7.5 ton, rigid. So that could be anything up to an 8x8, 20, 30 tons. It all covers that. So that's a good starting point, and it's another feather in my cap of skills, and I could use that. So if everything went wrong somewhere in terms of the plan didn't come off, or things weren't working right, or I needed to get some extra cash because whatever, I've got a license to drive a wagon. First thing is don't worry about moving a truck if you haven't got a license. There's plenty of companies that can do it. It's not particularly cheap, but if you look at the value of the truck, bearing in mind these things are £100,000 plus new. You're talking, I think mine all up was £12,000. That includes the buyer's premium. So that's the premium, that's the bit you pay extra on top of the vehicle to the auction house. And then there is the VAT, which is the tax, 20% currently in the UK. So all in, it cost me about £12,000, which is not a lot of money. Bearing in mind, I'm looking at second-hand trucks that were for sale with retailers, but fair enough, they're retailing it. And they were 40k, not the same truck, but 40 grand for a Mercedes or an M.A.N. Civic version. So I've suddenly come down near enough. I'm at 25% of what I expected to spend. So all of a sudden, the way of the means to do this is suddenly actually achievable without selling the house and living in a tent while I built it.